All right, so we will start a new chapter on symbolic. So symbolic mathematics is suppose we when we solve the mathematical problems, you may have learned like integration, differential, or algebra, or different kind of the math formulation and solving it. So in our normal process, what we do is we try to solve manually, and if there is some equation, we will rearrange manually step by step and then solve it. If you want to do the this one integration, then you have some steps you need to follow to solve. Differential, some steps to follow to solve. Okay, so symbolic mathematics, in it we will learn that you can give any mathematical equation to the Matlab, and then you write the proper command and it will solve it. So if suppose there is some equation and you want to integrate, then you just write down int bracket and it will integrate. You can write down the equation and you say differentiate diff, then it will differentiate. So and if you want some kind of a rearrangement, then you can easily do by the symbolic mathematics. So it is quite an important part and it is quite useful for the engineering students. So today we are going to learn more about the symbolic mathematics. Okay, so in this chapter we will cover how to create and manipulate the symbolic equations, how to simplify if you got suppose some kind of a complex equation, then how you can simplify, how you can solve it, and you can get the answers. So these are the main things that you will cover in the symbolic chapter. Okay, a little bit history about from where this symbolic comes. So basically, this symbolic was developed via independent software. It is independent company called Newpad. They have developed the software that can solve the mathematical equation. So earlier, it was not part of the MATLAB, but later on they have bought the Newpad, and then they have connected the Newpad with the MATLAB to solve the symbolic part. So as it is saying that before previous version before 2007, that they don't have it. Okay, so in this chapter you will learn, or you will have the capability to simplify equations, solve symbolically, evaluate numerically, integrate, and whole lot of things. There are other advanced features like Laplace, this one Laplace transforms, Fourier, but in your course for this one, we are going to learn the basic, how you can use the basic symbolic in our day-to-day life. Okay, so you can see on this slide, they have written that there is an equation y 2 into x plus 3 whole square upon this one. So if you have, can you solve manually? And suppose all the students need to try. If you got this equation, and can you tell that how much is the answer? Everyone can do on the paper and try to get the answer. It is very easy one. Okay. So can you solve it and tell me on the microphone that how much is your answer? You need to expand the upper part and then divide by this one, and you need to tell how much is the answer. You can tell on the microphone, otherwise I need to change the slides. Anyone? Simple equation, you need to expand and then you need to write down. 2, yes, correct. All right, so only one student got 2, or quite a number of students got the answer 2? All right, so 2 is the correct answer. So how we can get that answer in the next slide we will show. All right, so you got, suppose this equation 2 is equal to x plus 3 whole square, x square 6x plus 9. Then we need to first expand the equation, the above one, x square plus 6x plus 9, and then you divide, so answer is 2. So manually, this is how we can do And we will see the same kind of example later on that how MATLAB can solve these kind of the equation. All right, so now the second part. Okay, so MATLAB have the MATLAB symbolic part. MATLAB symbolic part have the capability to simplify the equation. So you can give some kind of the equation which is quite complex, and then you ask the MATLAB to simplify. They have the command called simplify. Then you can simplify or manipulate. Suppose you got some complex equation, you want one particular thing to be calculated, then how it can manipulate and bring it to the main point. Okay, so suppose this one is the equation k is equal to k0 e minus q upon rt. And in this equation, suppose you want to calculate capital T temperature, then how you can do it? So you may have learned that if you want to calculate, means we want to make it T as subject and rest of the things other side. So this one, how we can achieve? Okay, so there are steps when you are doing manually. There are steps you need to follow to bring temperature on one side and rest of the thing other side. So you can see that how you can go inverse, then we multiply, move one thing from another, and then T will come on one side and rest of the things can come other side. So this is the steps we need to do if we want to calculate temperature. So same thing using symbolic, there is a one command called solve. You give any complex equation, okay? Any complex equation you can give, and then you say solve k, because you need to give what equation. So you can say solve k for t. So solve k comma t, and MATLAB will automatically rearrange the whole equation and you can easily solve. So once you have solved, then there is another command called substitute. So you can substitute the value of like q, r, k0, you can give and substitute. So the whole thing can be solved. So within 2-3 steps, you can solve any complex equation. So the same thing I think will come like in numerical method. A lot of students have taken the numerical method, and I think in the whole subject, basically, we teach you that how you can find out the exact answer. So you will get lower limit, upper limit, and then you need to do the iteration, calculate the answer. So after 3-4 calculation, you can get the error. So the same thing which takes suppose maybe half an hour or 45 minutes to do the manual calculation. The same thing you can put in the MATLAB, click the button, and you will get the answer in seconds or less than a second. So same thing you can give to the MATLAB also, any mathematical equation for the differential, integral, and you just write down the command diff, int, and it gets solved. So the main thing is suppose why you need to learn then. Any idea? If you can solve all the things within a short, then why you need to learn numerical method, integration, differential? Any idea about the students from the students? Why we need to learn all these things? Can anybody? If we can solve in a like in a single shot. Okay. So the thing is you need to learn. Otherwise, suppose in MATLAB, you can write down some numerical method equation. You will see today, you will see that how you can solve any equation. So within click, you can get the answer, but you don't know which method MATLAB have used and how the MATLAB had processed. So until you learn manually, whether numerical method or differential or integration, then you don't know that how the computer or anything is doing at the back. So for understanding, you need to learn to do the manually. But for future, like if you want to use it in your job or any field, then you can use the MATLAB to solve it. Okay. All right. So now, as we have learned in our previous chapter in user-defined function, whenever you need to do the user-defined function, the first word you need to write down function, then output equals to whatever is the equation. So same way, whenever you are using the Matlab and you want to use the symbolic function, then first term you need to write down as sym. So when you write down the sim, then when Matlab will operate, it will understand that you are trying to use the symbolic. Then it will start working on it. But if you don't write down sim and then you try to do it, then Matlab will show the error. So this thing you need to write down sim or use the sim. Actually, previously Matlab used SYM, then later on SYMS. So you need to check that which version of Matlab we are using. So either SYM or SYMS is used to solve the symbolic. Okay, so this one is the beginning part. So suppose if you want to declare, because suppose in any equation you have x, y, z or anything, then you don't declare the values. So you need to tell MATLAB these are symbols you are going to use. So in the first line, you write down SYMS, okay, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, whatever symbols. Then later on, you write down the equation. Otherwise, suppose in our normal programming, when we want to calculate something, we give X is equal to 2, Y is equal to this one, Z is equal to this one, then calculate. So we declare the variables in the beginning, then we give the equation. But in symbolic, we are declaring the variables but not giving any value. We are just saying that we are going to use symbol x, y, z. Then we write down the equation. So you can write down, suppose in either way, you can write down x is equal to single quote x, or you can write down syms x. And then in the next line, you can write down the equation. So what I want all of you to do, you open the script file, and or you can do it in the command window also. So first, if you are using the MATLAB, then first you write down CLC clear to clear all the things that you have done. Then you write down SYMS X and this equation. And when you will run this equation, you will see some boxes like this one in the workspace, square boxes, X and Y in the workspace. If you are getting this one, this means your MATLAB or Symbolic is working. All right. So everyone need to try this first step. You write down SYMSX, then Y is equal to this one, run. And if you got these two boxes in the workspace, then you say done. Because first thing is in some of the computer, this symbolic is also not working. We have checked in our lab also. Normally we take class in the FTS 16. Then out of 30, maybe 2, 3 computers, symbolic don't work. That one we don't know exactly why it didn't work. So you try this one. If it is coming XY, then this means symbolic is working. Okay, though. So the first part you have seen that we have declared X, symbolic SYMSX, and then we have written Y is equal to this one because we didn't tell the value, how much is X, how much is Y. So these are symbols. So whenever we write symbols in the MATLAB, then it will become like these boxes. Okay. This one is the another part you can try. All these things you can try in the command window. So I think a lot of things of the symbolic you can try in command window. You don't need the script file. So in this equation, which we have seen earlier, that we want to declare a symbolic QRT and K0. So first we write down SYMS QRT K0. So MATLAB knows that these four symbols you are going to use in the coming equation. Then you write down k is equal to k0, exp, and this. Okay. So also write down this thing also in the command window. All right. Okay, let's Now move to the, I think in this one also student will not have any problem yet. Okay, so another is you can create equation also mc square e is equal to symbolic, and then you write down the equation inside. So this is another way of writing. So either you can write down, suppose we write down symbolic syms x, then we use y is equal to this. We can directly also use the equation. We can write down e is equal to symbolic single quote. So it is also doing the same thing. So depend upon the user that okay, what way you want to use the this term. Okay, all right. Okay, everyone have done this part. So you can see in the command window, these things are written E, Q, R, T, K0, all the things in the workspace. So whatever symbols you have declared in the during your coding, all the things will appear in the workspace. And their box is also this one rectangular kind of box, cubicle. Then you can see that these are all symbols. Okay, so now we will try to do this one is not needed. Okay. All right. So we will try from here. So now in our previous example, we have written x symbolic x syms x. Then we have written y is equal to 2 into x plus 3 in this equation. Now here we will use the different term which are used in symbolic. So suppose you want to separate numerator in the equation y, you want to separate numerator and denominator. So you can write down like square bracket num comma den is equal to num den y. So it will separate the equation y into numerator and denominator. So just try in the command window. You write down a square bracket num comma den equals to num den bracket y. So in the same way, we can also further manipulate these things. We can suppose the one difference you need to see here is that the whole equation is we are multiplying, dividing, and adding. So suppose you got y equation, then you have written num den, it will separate num and den. And then you in the next step you can multiply num into den. So two equation, you can add both the equation, you can divide both the equation. So basically in symbolic we are dealing with the equation, not the number. And equation as such, we can multiply, divide, and add. So when we deal with a complete equation and we didn't tell Matlab how much is x or something, then we need to use the symbolic. So just try this step. The first one to separate num den, numerator, denominator. Second, multiply both the equation. Third, add. And fourth, divide. And you check by running in the command window. If you got the answer correctly, then in the chat box, you just write down done. Okay, the first step, have you written CLC clear or you have written the, in this part, you need to do two things. One is you need to write down SYMS X, then the Y equation, then you need to write down this step. Okay, you don't need to write down, if you have written CLC clear, then it may have already deleted your X and Y. Then you cannot get the same. So the first thing is you need to write down, okay, I will show you the slides. Okay, so the first part you need to write down SYMS X. Okay, then you need to write down y is equal to 2x plus 3 power this equation. So after this one, then you need to write down this part. Okay, then you need to write down, suppose this one is your x, y, then num multiplied then num plus then this one. Okay. Okay, so now is the simplifying one. Simplifying, as the word is saying, that if we want to simplify the equation, then we can write down the equation and then can simplify. So we will see the application of simplify function. Okay, so now what you need to do is, suppose we have written the equation z is equal to symbolic this, and then we write down simplify z. So then Matlab will simplify the equation. And same way, we have written the equation w. We can write down, suppose, equation this one w, and then we can ask simplify. So actually, term, it is saying that if you write an equation and then you write down simplify, Matlab will simplify by its own way. So you can try the first one. I will also check on my command window that it is giving exactly same or not. So z is equal to symbolic 3a minus a plus 3 star sign a minus 3 power 2 single quote, and then you write down simplify z and check you are getting the same answer. So you will get the answer like 3 star a minus 3 power 2 a plus 3 and 6. Okay, try in the command window and then check how is your answer coming.